I'm from Vienna, Austria, born and bred in Vienna. Beautiful city, huge tradition of music, as you know. And I started playing at the age of 4. Yes, had a very early start with a fantastic teacher, and just loved music and loved drums all my life. Was very lucky to find the right people to mentor me through the Conservatory of Vienna and the Music Academy. And I started working very early on. In my mid-teens, I was already working professionally, playing on some big Austro-pop records in the early and mid-'80s. And then stumbled my way up the ladder basically, and started working with bigger and bigger artists in Austria, and a few artists who were then eventually charting, and pretty much anybody who at the time in the mid-'80s was popular in Austria I worked with. Did a ton of records, and even at that time learned a lot about recording. It was all analog still at the time, so there's a lot of attention to detail and perfect performances and just picking up everything really well with great miking in the studio. And then started working with Falco, who was at the time the biggest Austrian artist touring internationally. Still is probably, yeah. and made many records with him, many tours for many years until he died, in the late 90s. And through that connection, then moved to London pretty much at the same time and started working with international, global touring artists. Lived there for 15 years and started working with all the big, pop artists at the time, with George Michael and Kylie Minogue and the Spice Girls and Robbie Williams and a lot of the big UK artists. And then moved to LA about 17 years ago and proceeded from there, maybe focusing a little more on the non-pop music scene, writing a lot of my own music, producing a lot of music, and focusing on education, on recording, running my own studio, and that's pretty much where I am right now. I was testing the mics right away after you sent them. I used the OC 18s as overhead mics. I used them as close ambience mics. Tried them on snare drums. Tried them pretty much in all ways imaginable in my studio as a vocal mic, and of course also the OC 18. And I'm absolutely blown away. I love the absolutely linear, clear, and very powerful signal I'm getting from it. Actually, I had to dial all my preamps down when I first plugged them in, surprisingly. So it's picking up an incredible amount of volume, and gain naturally, which I love, of course. And it gives me a lot of headroom still. It's got an incredibly linear, beautiful, warm sound. You can literally feel the air move, when you listen back to it, and incredible brilliance in the top end. I just love them. I fell in love immediately. I used them literally I was doing an album for a jazz guitar player, and it was all acoustic, very soft playing. So I had, the gains up quite a bit on my preamps, and I got an incredibly warm, full, beautiful stereo panorama, just a wonderful sound. So I'm hooked already. I love them, and I love the fact that it's Austrian made, and it's made by all the people I know and love, and so I couldn't be happier. Well, I'm extremely busy recording pretty much every day. I'm in the studio. In fact, I'm building a second studio right now, which is a large 3,000 square foot recording facility in Oak Park here in California. I also have some teaching rooms there, rehearsal rooms, recording studio, and I'm producing a lot of content for my new company called 9 Beats USA, which is a franchise of music schools, and we also have a very successful app that's associated with that, and websites, of course. And I'm creating a ton of content, everything from drum lessons to play-along tracks, producing artists, and the mics are basically in daily use for that. So it's very exciting for me, and lots more opportunity to experiment with them and use them. Servus an alle Wiener, na, wie geht's euch? Wir sind auf der NAMM Show, ich bin hier mit dem Walter, nicht wahr? Und ja, wir haben eine wundervolle Zeit hier und vor allem haben wir noch einiges zu trinken hier. Das heißt, wir müssen jetzt leider schnell Schluss machen und uns aufs Bier stürzen, okay? Also, Prost!